The House will come to order. The invocation today will be given by the Honorable Representative Tanya Myers-Phillips, State Representative from the 7th District. Will members, staff, and guests in the gallery please rise?
Okay, good afternoon, colleagues. Building on Jesus' teaching, the Apostle Paul gives us guidance in 1 Corinthians 13 on what love really is about. I pray that we as people from different backgrounds and beliefs can truly walk in love in our lives and in our work. 1 Corinthians reads, "If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I have to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Lord, help us do the hard work of love. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then shall we see face to face. Now I know in part. Then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. So Lord, I pray, show us how to love. In Jesus' name, amen.
The clerk will open the board for the purpose of taking attendance. The board is now open. Members, you may check in at your desk. The Midwesterner has permission to record today's session. For the purpose of an introduction, the speaker recognizes Representative Leitner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today in the West Gallery, I have lots of members from the Healthcare Association of Michigan, HCAM, and also constituents of mine up there as well. So please welcome them today.
Will the guests of Representative Leitner please rise? And welcome to the Michigan House of Representatives. For the purpose of an introduction, the speaker recognizes Representative Meerman.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. I have the pleasure of having Noah Mullins here with me from Grand Valley State University.
Will the guests of Representative Meerman please rise? And welcome to the Michigan House of Representatives. Speaker recognizes Minority Floor Leader Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to excuse Representatives B. Carter, T. Carter, Kothia, Farhat, Grant, Morgan, Reingans, Skaggs, Weiss, and Whitsett, please.
So ordered. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Postumus.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to excuse Representatives Bierlein, Frisbee, Linting, and Shriver.
Without objection, so ordered. The clerk will close the board, tally, display, and announce today's attendance.
Madam Speaker, a quorum of the House is present. There are no members absent with prior excuse.
Will members, staff, and guests in the gallery please rise and join me now in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag For the purposes of introduction, the Speaker recognizes Representative Kara.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have 34 students and 9 adults from Centerville Elementary in the West Gallery.
Will the special guest of Representative Kara please rise and welcome to the Michigan House of Representatives. Colleagues, we've got a member that is going to be giving a tribute presentation. Please give him your attention. For the purpose of a tribute presentation, the speaker recognizes Representative Cavett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today I rise with my colleague from the 99th District to recognize an outstanding young leader from our districts, Miranda Reuter of Greenbush, who has earned the distinguished rank of Eagle Scout. Reaching the rank of Eagle Scout is no small feat. It represents years of hard work, dedication, and perseverance. But what makes Miranda's achievement even more remarkable is she is the first female Eagle Scout in both Alcona and Iosco counties. Her success is not only a personal milestone, but also a historic moment that will inspire generations of Scouts to come. With Scouts Troop 7, Miranda has demonstrated an exceptional commitment to service and leadership. She has earned numerous merit badges, attended the National Scout Jamboree, and balanced an active scouting career with her responsibilities as a senior at Alcona High School. Through scouting, Miranda has developed skills that reflect the very essence of the Scout oath and law. From outdoor survival and first aid to leadership and teamwork, she has uplifted those around her, helping fellow Scouts toward their own goals and leading by example every step of the way. Miranda's story is one of hard work, determination, and service to others. She represents the best of our young people in Northeast Michigan. I am proud to have her visit the Capitol today to be recognized for this tremendous accomplishment. Please join me in congratulating Eagle Scout Miranda Reuter on earning the highest honor in scouting and in thanking her for her dedication to our community.
Will the guests of Representative Cavett please rise? Colleagues, please join me in welcoming Miranda to the Michigan House of Representatives. Speaker recognizes Majority Caucus Chair Borton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Attention, Republican members. We have a Republican caucus in the Republican caucus room. Republican members, we have Republican caucus in the Republican caucus room.
Speaker recognizes Democratic Caucus Chair Young.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Democratic colleagues, we have caucus in the caucus room. Democratic colleagues, caucus in the caucus room. Thank you.
The House will go at ease at the call of the chair.
The House come to order and proceed to announces by the clerk of printing and enrollment.
Clerk announced the following bills to be reproduced and made available electronically on Thursday, October 30th. House Bills 5164 through 5198. Clerk announced the following bills to be reproduced and made available on Friday, October 31st. Senate Bill 627 through 698.
Reports of standing committees.
The Committee on Finance, Representative Tisdale, Chair, reported House Bill 4816 with recommendation that the substitute H2 be adopted. Further recommended the bill and substitute be referred to the Committee on Rules.
We refer to the Committee on Rules.
The Committee on Finance, Representative Tisdale, Chair, reported House Bill 4892 with recommendation that the substitute H1 be adopted, and further recommended that the bill and substitute be referred to the Committee on Rules.
We refer to the Committee on Rules.
The Committee on Finance, Representative Tisdale, Chair, reported House Bill 4893 with recommendation that the substitute H2 be adopted and the bill then pass.
Bill be referred to the order of second reading of bills.
The Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Representative Alton, Chair, reported House Bill 5089 without amendment and with recommendation the bill pass.
Bill be referred to the order of second reading of bills.
The Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Representative Altman, Chair, reported House Bill 5109 without amendment with recommendation that bill then pass.
Bill be referred to the order of second reading of bills.
The Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Representative Altman, Chair, reported House Bill 5110 without amendment and with recommendation the bill pass.
Bill be referred to the order of second reading of bills.
The Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Representative Altman, Chair, reported House Bill 5111 without amendment and with recommendation the bill pass.
Bill be referred to the order of second reading of bills.
The Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Representative Altman, Chair, reported House Bill 5112 without amendment with recommendation the bill pass.
Bill be referred to the order of second reading of bills. Notices.
The House Committee on Appropriations will meet Wednesday, November 5th at 9 a.m. in room 352 of the Capitol. House Committee on Health Policy will meet Wednesday, November 5th at 9 a.m. in room 519 of the House Office Building. The House Oversight Subcommittee on Corporate Subsidies and State Investments will meet Wednesday, November 5th at 10:30 a.m. in room 326 of the House Office Building. The House Committee on Natural Resources and Tourism will meet Wednesday, November 5th at 12 noon in room 519 of the House Office Building. House Oversight Subcommittee on Homeland Security and Foreign Influence will meet Wednesday, November 5th at 12 noon in room 308 of the House Office Building. The House Committee on Government Operations will meet Thursday, November 6th at 9 a.m. in room 307 of the House Office Building. House Committee on Regulatory Reform will meet Thursday, November 6th at 9 a.m. in room 519 of the House Office Building. The House Committee on Economic Competitiveness will meet Thursday, November 6th at 10:30 a.m. room 521 of the Capitol. A revised agenda has been issued for the House Committee on Rules, scheduled for November 6th at 11 a.m., room 428 of the Capitol.
Introduction of bills.
Representative Steckloff offers House Bill 5199, a bill to amend the Insurance Code of 1956. People of the State of Michigan enact.
Bill be considered at a first time by its title, referred to the Committee on Insurance.
Representative Steckloff offers House Bill 5200, a bill to amend the Insurance Code of 1956. People of the State of Michigan enact.
Bill be considered at a first time by its title, referred to the Committee on Insurance.
Representative Paquette offers House Bill 5201, a bill to amend the Public Health Code. People of the State of Michigan enact.
Bill be considered at a first time by its title, referred to the Committee on Health Policy.
Representative Wirtz offers House Bill 5202, a bill to amend the Public Health Code. People of the State of Michigan enact.
Bill be considered at a first time by its title, referred to the Committee on Health Policy.
Representative Smith offers House Bill 5203, a bill to amend the Code of Criminal Procedure. People of the State of Michigan enact.
Bill be considered at a first time by its title, referred to the Committee on Health Policy.
Representative B. Carter offers House Bill 5204, a bill to amend the Insurance Code 1956. People of the State of Michigan enact.
Bill be considered at a first time by its title, referred to the Committee on Insurance.
Representative Long John offers House Bill 5205, a bill to amend the Insurance Code of 1956. People of the State of Michigan enact.
Bill be considered at a first time by its title, referred to the Committee on Insurance.
Representative Regas offers House Bill 5206, a bill to amend the Occupational Code. People of the State of Michigan enact.
Bill be considered at a first time by its title, referred to the Committee on Regulatory Reform.
Representative Regas offers House Bill 5207, a bill to amend the Occupational Code. People of the State of Michigan enact.
Bill be considered at a first time by its title, referred to the Committee on Regulatory Reform.
Representative Young offers House Bill 5208, a bill to prohibit certain medical procedures for declawing a cat. People of the State of Michigan enact.
Bill be considered at a first time by its title and referred to the Committee on Agriculture.
Representative Wilson offers House Bill 5209, a bill to amend the Public Health Code. People of the State of Michigan enact.
Bill be considered read at first time by its title, referred to Committee on Agriculture.
Mrs. Alexander offers House Bill 5210, a bill to amend the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act, People, State of Michigan, enact.
Bill be considered read at first time by its title, referred to Committee on Natural Resources and Tourism.
So Johnson offers House Bill 5211, a bill to amend the Child Custody Act of 1970, People, State of Michigan, enact.
Bill be considered read at first time by its title, referred to Committee on Judiciary.
Representative Wilson offers House Bill 5212, a bill to amend the Child Custody Act of 1970, People, State of Michigan, enact.
Bill be considered read at first time by its title, referred to Committee on Judiciary.
Representative Begul offers House Bill 5213, a bill to amend the Friend of the Court Act, People, State of Michigan, enact.
Bill be considered read at first time by its title, referred to Committee on Judiciary.
Representative Schmaltz offers House Bill 5214, a bill to amend the Income Tax Act of 1967, People, State of Michigan, enact.
Bill be considered read at first time by its title, referred to Committee on Insurance. Announcements by the clerk.
Received from Received from the Auditor General a copy of the follow-up report of the Adult Protective Services, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, October 2025. Follow-up report of select licensing and monitoring activities of child placing agencies, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, October 2025. And follow-up report on the Office of Education Excellence, Michigan Department of Education, October 2025.
The House will stand at ease. The House proceed to messages from the governor.
To the Speaker of the House from Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Dear sir, I have this day approved and signed Rolled House Bill number 4962, being Public Act 31, on November 4th at 1:20 p.m.
The House stand at ease.
The House will come to order. The Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House proceed to the order of second reading of bills. Take up calendar item number 42, House Bill 4073.
Without objection, so ordered. The clerk will read.
Calendar item 42, House Bill 4073, introduced by Representative Preston. A bill to amend the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act. People of the State of Michigan enact.
The bill will be considered read for a second time by its title. Are there amendments? There are. The clerk will read.
The Committee on Natural Resources and Tourism, Representative Martin Chair, recommends the adoption of substitute H1.
The question is on the adoption of the substitute. The clerk will open the board. The substitute is adopted. Are there further amendments? There being no further amendments, the question before the House is advancing the bill to the order of third reading. Hearing no objection, the bill is on third reading. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Continuing on the order of second reading of bills, I move that the House take up calendar item number 43, House Bill 4421.
Without objection, so ordered. The clerk will read.
Calendar item number 43, House Bill 4421, introduced by Representative Coons. A bill to amend the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act. People of the State of Michigan enact.
The bill will be considered read for a second time by its title. Are there amendments? There are. The clerk will read.
The Committee on Natural Resources and Tourism, Representative Martin Chair, recommends the adoption of substitute H2.
The question is on the adoption of the substitute. The clerk will open the board. The substitute is adopted. Are there further amendments? There being no further amendments, the question before the House is advancing the bill to the order of third reading. Hearing no objection, the bill is on third reading. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Continuing on the order of second reading of bills, move that the House take up calendar item number 65, House Bill 4861.
Without objection, so ordered. The clerk will read.
Calendar number 65, House Bill 4861, introduced by Representative Outman. A bill to amend the Michigan election law. People of the State of Michigan enact.
The bill will be considered read for a second time by its title. Are there amendments? There are. The clerk will read.
The Committee on Election Integrity, Representative Smith Chair, recommends the adoption of substitute H1.
The question is on the adoption of the substitute. The clerk will open the board. The substitute is adopted. Are there further amendments? There being no further amendments, the question before the House is advancing the bill to the order of third reading. Hearing no objection, the bill is on third reading. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Continuing on the order of second reading of bills, move that the House take up calendar item number 52, House Bill 4840.
Without objection, so ordered. The clerk will read.
Calendar number 52, House Bill 4840, introduced by Representative Leitner. A bill to amend the Revised Judicature Act of 1961. People of the State of Michigan enact.
The bill will be considered read for a second time by its title. Are there amendments? There being no amendments, the question before the House is advancing the bill to the order of third reading. Hearing no objection, the bill is on third reading. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Continuing on the order of second reading of bills, move that the House take up calendar item number 18, House Bill 4119.
Without objection, so ordered. The clerk will read.
Calendar item number 18, House Bill 4119, introduced by Representative Frisbee. A bill to amend the General Sales Tax Act. People of the State of Michigan enact.
The bill will be considered read for a second time by its title. Are there amendments? There are. The clerk will read.
Representative Glanville offers a series of 3 amendments identified as amendment number 1.
The question is on the adoption of the amendment. The clerk will open the board. The amendment is not adopted. Are there further amendments? There are. The clerk will read.
Representative Brixey offers 1 amendment identified as amendment number 2.
The question is on the adoption of the amendment. The clerk will open the board. The amendment is not adopted. Are there further amendments? There being no further amendments, the question before the House is advancing the bill to the order of third reading. Hearing no objection, the bill is on third reading. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Continuing on the order of second reading of bills, move that the House take up calendar item number 19, House Bill 4120.
Without objection, so ordered. The clerk will read.
Calendar item number 19, House Bill 4120, introduced by Representative Andrews. A bill to amend the Use Tax Act. People of the State of Michigan enact.
The bill will be considered read for a second time by its title. Are there amendments? There are. The clerk will read.
Representative Rogers offers a series of 3 amendments identified as amendment number 1.
The question is on the adoption of the amendment. The clerk will open the board. The amendment is not adopted. Are there further amendments? There are. The clerk will read.
Representative Brixey offers 1 amendment identified as amendment number 2.
The question is on the adoption of the amendment. The clerk will open the board. The amendment is not adopted. Are there further amendments? There being no further amendments, the question before the House is advancing the bill to the order of third reading. Hearing no objection, the bill is on third reading. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Postumus.
Continuing on the order of second reading of bills, move that the House take up calendar item number 75, House Bill 4929.
Without objection, so ordered. The clerk will read.
Calendar number 75, House Bill 4929, introduced by Representative Spallo, a bill to amend the Public Health Code, People of the State of Michigan, enact.
The bill will be considered read for a second time by its title. Are there amendments? There are. The clerk will read.
The Committee on Rules, Representative Schuette Chair, recommends the adoption of Substitute H2.
The question is on the adoption of the substitute. The clerk will open the board. The substitute is adopted. Are there further amendments? There being no further amendments, the question before the House is advancing the bill to the order of third reading. Hearing no objection, the bill is on third reading. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Postumus.
Continuing on the order of second reading of bills, move that the House take up calendar item number 76, House Bill 4930.
Without objection, so ordered. The clerk will read.
Calendar item number 76, House Bill 4930, introduced by Representative Mueller, a bill to amend the Public Health Code, People of the State of Michigan, enact.
The bill will be considered read for a second time by its title. Are there amendments? There are. The clerk will read.
The Committee on Rules, Representative Schuette Chair, recommends the adoption of Substitute H2.
The question is on the adoption of the substitute. The clerk will open the board. The substitute is adopted. Are there further amendments? There being no further amendments, the question before the House is advancing the bill to the order of third reading. Hearing no objection, the bill is on third reading. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Postumus.
Continuing on the order of second reading of bills, move that the House take up calendar item number 68, House Bill 4397.
Without objection, so ordered. The clerk will read.
Calendar item number 68, House Bill 4397, introduced by Representative Leitner, a bill to protect the safety of judges and certain other individuals. People of the State of Michigan, enact.
The bill will be considered read for a second time by its title. Are there amendments? There are. The clerk will read.
The Committee on Judiciary, Representative Leitner, Chair, recommends the adoption of Substitute H6.
The question is on the adoption of the substitute. The clerk will open the board. The substitute is adopted. Are there further amendments? There being no further amendments, the question before the House is advancing the bill to the order of third reading. Hearing no objection, the bill is on third reading. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Postumus.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House proceed to the order of third reading of bills to take up calendar item number 42, House Bill 4073, and place it on its immediate passage.
Without objection, so ordered. The clerk will read.
Calendar item number 42, House Bill 4073, introduced by Representative Preston, a bill to amend the Natural Resources and Environment Protection Act, People of the State of Michigan, enact.
The bill will be considered read for a third time by its title. Are there amendments? There are not. Speaker recognizes Representative Sternaglew.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution is clear in saying that the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. You would be hard-pressed to find even a single American that is in support of unreasonable or warrantless searches and seizures of property. Yet, as legislators, we must engage in debates based on facts and realities, not wishful thinking. The exact issue that House Bill 4073 seeks to address has been clearly settled by our nation's highest court. The Supreme Court of the United States has repeatedly stated that individuals cannot legitimately expect privacy for activities conducted out in the open except in the area immediately surrounding their home. Even if a property owner has gates and posted trespassing signs, the court has made it clear that searches for activities conducted out in the open for large properties, this means in the fields, wooded areas, or on open water, so long as the area is not immediately surrounding the home, need not comply with the requirements of warrants and probable cause. The actions of the DNR or any other state agency that is conducting open field searches are completely justified by previous SCOTUS rulings and are protected by federal law. These are not the actions of a rogue department, but rather the actions of a responsible department attempting to enforce our state's laws. I would also like to note that this bill would statutorily enact a departmental policy that is stricter than the federal government's search warrant policies. In doing so, this bill would curb the state's ability to manage wildlife, clean up toxic spills, and protect the public's health and the environment. I urge my colleagues to vote no on HB 4073. Thank you.
Speaker recognizes Representative Preston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I shouldn't have to be standing before you today, but I am because the state needs to correct a wrong that has gone on for generations. Our state constitution is not like our federal constitution. The wording is dramatically different, and states have interpreted constitutions that have language similar to our state's much differently. That wrong is to completely disregard of the Fourth Amendment and private property rights by the DNR. For too long, the DNR has used the so-called open fields doctrine to go wherever they want on your property, so long as they aren't too close to your home, also known as curtilage. Their flagrant abuse of this doctrine and the unspecific, self-serving definition of what is considered curtilage infringes on the privacy and property rights of the men and women of this state for the mere crime of attempting to enjoy their own property. This Fourth Amendment loophole has meant that the DNR can treat private farms like my 200 acres, private forests, private back 40s, the exact same way they treat state land. The DNR insists that they only enter with probable cause, but that is just a flat-out lie. Their use of report all poaching reports, also known as RAP reports, indicate a far different story. They never bother to explain to anyone what their probable cause was, because in most instances it came from an anonymous tip line that serves as a convenient method for conservation officers to weaponize their neighbor and land disputes. The experiences my constituents share often have common themes, like the DNR hopping your fence, cutting your locks, placing surveillance cameras on your property, walking 60 to 80 acres onto your property despite no trespassing signs with no warrant, no permission, and most often without you even knowing that they're there. These incidents are altogether too common. A few stand out to me and include conservation officers wandering onto private property just because they heard a gunshot, harassing a hunter because they didn't like the bear bait container he had on the edge of his property, conservation officers wearing plain clothes repeatedly trespassing onto private property without notifying the property owners or even bringing any charges, repeatedly cutting locks to enter private property without notice and never compensating the property owner for the damage, calling a property owner out of his blind right before shooting time on opening day just so that they can check his license. Interactions like these cross my desk all the time. And when the people get the courage to stand up to the department and testify in committee, the department issues a warrant for their arrest. As law-abiding sportsmen and women take to the woods to enjoy their time in the fields, too many will be needlessly harassed on their own property. I'm one of them. I can promise you that somewhere over the course of the next few weeks, that some hunter is going to be harassed because of a bait pile on their property that was left behind by a trespasser. And the property owner, not the trespasser, will get the ticket. The public does not trust this department. This department refuses to acknowledge the problems that their actions have created. If the department wants to prove that they only enter into a probable cause, these bills give them the opportunity to prove it. This bill simply requires the department to put it on paper, knock on the door, or get a warrant. Every other law enforcement agency takes proactive steps to respect private property. We have this agency run things around the Constitution, and the people of this state no more. This bill will require the DNR to get a warrant or permission before entering private property unless there are exigent circumstances. It will require them to treat private property as private property, in line with all other law enforcement agencies in the state. The DNR will still be able to protect our public resources without infringing on the rights of the public. This isn't left or right issue. It is simply about upholding our Fourth Amendment protections in the way that about every one of our constituents needs them. For rural America, this is stop and frisk, a search policy that raised legitimate concerns in major cities. I urge my colleagues to vote yes. because liberty isn't seasonal, and it's time to end the open season on private property.
The question before the House is the passage of the bill. A record roll call vote is required. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, nay. The clerk will open the board. The clerk will close the board. Representative Edwards votes nay. The clerk will tally, display, and announce the vote.
Madam Speaker, on the question of the final passage of House Bill 4073, there are 63 aye votes, 37 nay votes.
A majority of the members elected and serving having voted in favor, therefore, the bill has passed. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Move for immediate effect.
The Majority Floor Leader moves for immediate effect. All those in favor will rise. Immediate effect is ordered. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Continuing on the order of third reading of bills, move that the House take up calendar item number 43, House Bill 4421, and place it on its immediate passage.
Without objection, so ordered, the clerk will read.
Calendar item number 43, House Bill 4421, introduced by Representative Kuntz, a bill to amend the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act, People's State of Michigan, enact.
The bill will be considered read for a third time by its title. Are there amendments? There are not. Speaker recognizes Representative Kuntz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, the right to private property is not a vague economic theory. The founders of this country knew that a free people could not remain free if the government controlled where they lived and what they could do on their property. The right to private property is the right to be secure in what you have earned and the right of the individual to determine who has access. And that is why the Fourth Amendment is so important. It clearly states that the government cannot come on your property without due process that has been reviewed by a judge. And that's not a legal loophole. That is the defense against government overreach. And yet today, we see Eagle claiming that they have that authority to come onto private property without a warrant. Now let me be clear. We all share in the duty to protect our environment. And clean air and clean water and responsible stewardship are values that all Michiganders can agree on. But we cannot take these goals and use them to erase our fundamental constitutional rights. We cannot take these goals and allow for government trespass. If a state agency can come onto your property without judicial oversight and issue orders, then private property itself becomes a privilege. It becomes conditional as granted by the government instead of a right protected by the Constitution. That is simply not the Michigan that we believe in, and it is certainly not the America that we have been promised in the Constitution. Colleagues, we can do both. We can protect the environment and protect our private property rights if we simply insist on due process. One of the things I like about this bill is its simplicity. It is one paragraph. It could have been one line. Get a warrant. That's all we're asking. The Constitution is not impeding progress. It is the compass that keeps us on the right path. And I hope today that my colleagues join me in honoring that amazing document. And I hope they join me in fulfilling our oath to that document. And I hope they join me in voting yes on 4421 to protect private property rights. Thank you.
The question before the House is the passage of the bill. A record roll call vote is required. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, nay. The clerk will open the board. Members, the board is still open. You may vote at your desks. The clerk will close the board, tally, display, and announce the vote.
Madam Speaker, on the question on the final passage of House Bill 4421, there are 63 aye votes and 37 nay votes.
A majority of the members elected and serving having voted in favor, therefore, the bill has passed. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Move for immediate effect.
The Majority Floor Leader moves for immediate effect. All those in favor will rise. Immediate effect is ordered. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Continuing on the order of third reading of bills, move that the House take up calendar item number 65, House Bill 4861, and place it on its immediate passage.
Without objection, so ordered, the clerk will read.
Calendar number 65, House Bill 4861, introduced by Representative Altman. A bill to amend the Michigan election law. People of the State of Michigan enact.
The bill will be considered read for a third time by its title. Are there amendments? There are not. Speaker recognizes Representative Altman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House Bill 4861 is about fixing something that everyone, regardless of party, should agree doesn't make sense. Under current law, when someone files to run for office, they have to fill out an affidavit of identity confirming that they're a U.S. citizen and eligible to run for office. But that form also includes a box asking for party affiliation. Now, that's fine for partisan offices, but for nonpartisan offices like judge, city council, or school board, that question doesn't even apply. And yet, in recent elections, some nonpartisan candidates were disqualified simply because they left that box blank, which is not untypical. This confusion even reached the Michigan Supreme Court. Justice David Viviano wrote that it makes little sense to force a nonpartisan candidate to declare that they have no party and urge the legislature to step in and fix it. Now, that's exactly what this bill does. House Bill 4861 strikes that unnecessary requirement, cleans up the statute, and ensures that good candidates aren't sidelined over a meaningless technicality. It also removes outdated paperwork language that hasn't been enforced in years. It's supported by judges, clerks, and the Department of State. Colleagues, this is a straightforward reform that improves our elections by removing unnecessary red tape. I respectfully ask for your support on House Bill 4861. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The question before the House is the passage of the bill. A record roll call vote is required. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, nay. The clerk will open the board. clerk will close the board, tally, display, and announce the vote.
Madam Speaker, on the question of final passage of House Bill 4861, there are 100 aye votes and 0 nay votes.
A majority of the members elected and serving having voted in favor, therefore, the bill has passed. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Move for immediate effect.
The Majority Floor Leader moves for immediate effect. All those in favor will rise. Immediate effect is ordered. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Continuing on the order of third reading of bills, move that the House take up calendar item number 52, House Bill 4840, and place it on its immediate passage.
Without objection, so ordered, the clerk will read.
Calendar item number 52, House Bill 4840, introduced by Representative Leitner. A bill to amend the revised Judicature Act of 1961. People's State of Michigan, enact.
The bill will be considered read for a third time by its title. Are there amendments? There being no amendments, the question before the House is the passage of the bill. A record roll call vote is required. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, nay. The clerk will open the board. Members, the board is still open. You may vote at your desks. The clerk will close the board. Representative Vanderwall votes aye. Representative Frisbee votes. Representative Frisbee votes aye. The clerk will tally, display, and announce the vote.
Madam Speaker, on the question of final passage of House Bill 4840, there are 99 aye votes and 1 nay vote.
A majority of the members elected and serving having voted in favor, therefore, the bill has passed. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Move for immediate effect.
The Majority Floor Leader moves for immediate effect. All those in favor will rise. Immediate effect is ordered. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House proceed to the order of motions and resolutions to take up House Resolution 203.
Without objection, so ordered, the clerk will read.
House Resolution number 203, introduced by Representative Van Workum. A resolution declaring November 2025 as Diabetes Awareness Month in the state of Michigan.
Speaker recognizes Representative Van Workum.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, a couple years ago, I offered a similar resolution. During that time, I shared my story of my youngest son being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Those emotions, those questions, they still exist. But as we go through this process, we're kind of at a new stage of our journey, trying to teach a 9-year-old the risks of living with diabetes, what it does to their heart, what it does to their lives, just the potentials there, and to have them take it seriously. But he's a Van Workum, so he's stubborn, so it's not easy. What's kind of unique about doing this resolution today, we just came off of the Halloween weekend, and trying to prevent your 9-year-old from consuming an epic haul of candy over the weekend is a bit of an issue. Those of us that have a child or loved one with type 1, you're always looking for the good news. We keep up to date on the technologies. We wait for the tech to talk to the tech so that we can mitigate the insulin. But we want a cure. We all want a cure. We read about islets, the hepatic portal vein, hypoimmune cells, stem cell therapy, cellular therapy. You're just looking for a breakthrough. Colleagues, I ask that you join me supporting this resolution declaring November as Diabetes Awareness Month in the state of Michigan. Please honor the approximately 923,000 adults and children in Michigan with type 1 and 2 diabetes and be an advocate for a cure. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The question before the House is on the adoption of House Resolution 203. All those in favor of the resolution will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The resolution is adopted. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Continuing on the order of motions and resolutions, I move that the House take up House Resolution 204.
Without objection, so ordered, the clerk will read.
House Resolution number 204, introduced by Representative Miller, a resolution to urge President Donald J. Trump and the United States Department of Agriculture to activate contingency funds to cover the upcoming month of food assistance benefits for 42 million Americans who stand to lose them on November 1st if the federal government remains shut down.
The resolution is referred to the Committee on Government Operations. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Continuing on the order of motions and resolutions, I move that the House take up House Resolution 205.
Without objection, so ordered, the clerk will read.
House Resolution number 205, introduced by Representative Menser, a resolution to strongly urge President Donald J. Trump and the United States Congress to take immediate and deliberate action to ensure the issuance of Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits for the month of November and for the duration of the continued lapse in appropriations.
The resolution is referred to the Committee on Government Operations. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House proceed to the order of reports on standing committees to take up House Resolution 195.
Without objection, so ordered, the clerk will read.
House Resolution number 195, introduced by Representative Johnson, a resolution to oppose the proposed Michigan Health Education Standards Framework and urge the Michigan Department of Education to redraft or the Michigan State Board of Education to reject these standards.
Speaker recognizes Representative Fox.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today in strong support of House Resolution 195. Jesus said it this way: anyone who welcomes a little child like this on my behalf is welcoming me. But if you cause one of these little ones who trusts in me to fall into sin, it would be better for you to have a large millstone tied around your neck and be drowned in the depths of the sea. The Michigan Department of Education is seeking to do an end around truth, an end around parents, an end around presidential executive orders, and an end around common sense. Today we stand at a pivotal moment, not simply for the curriculum of our government-run schools, but for the very character of our children's education and upbringing. This is about who we trust to guide the hearts and minds of our children. For your information, the people of Michigan, I believe, have already spoken on this issue. We place our trust in the Lord of the universe and the parents and guardians of our children. Parents have been given the sacred responsibility of educating their children. It's not the prerogative of the state. When a government agency tries to step between families and the values they teach at home, a line is crossed that should never be crossed. My constituents have elected me to be a faithful steward and protector of that responsibility. That's why I rise in strong support of the resolution before us. This resolution affirms parental rights, protects the sacred dignity of childhood, and steers our schools back toward their true mission. What is their true mission? Our schools should be places of learning, not laboratories of ideology. They should build character, not confusion. They should focus on the basics and the skills our children need for our future. And they should promote career preparation, not fringe political dogma. My family and I take our direction from the Lord. We believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life in our house. And we listen to the Bible, the Word of God, which says to let the Lord's commandments be on our hearts, to impress them on our children when we sit at home, when we are walking along the road, when we lie down, and when we get up. Our job is to mentor and teach our children as we go through every day, in every teachable moment presented to us, whether we be parents or guardians or grandparents. This is how we teach our values and our faith. Other people may teach them differently. That's their family's prerogative. Our schools do not decide who is right and who is wrong based on political correctness and the deviant choices of some in our culture. Cultural values do not override the objective values of biblical truth. Michigan law is clear that schools cannot and should not shape our children's worldview. But the Board of Education wants them to do it anyway. The Michigan Department of Education does not have the right, echoing what was said in a press conference recently, who do they think they are? Are they the Lord of the universe? Are they our parents? Are they purveyors of truth? Are they the President of the United States, who's made an executive order on this? Who do they think they are? In this state, we believe parents are the first and foremost teachers of their children, and we should empower parents to decide what their children learn about these topics. That's the law, and our Department of Education has no business going around it. This resolution seeks to restore truth. In Michigan schools, parents matter, families matter, and local control matters. In many of the homes in the state of Michigan, what the Lord says matters. Our schools reflect that tradition, and so do our laws, but our Board of Education clearly does not. So, Madam Chair, I urge my colleagues to vote yes on this resolution for the sake of our children, our families, our future, our faith. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Speaker recognizes Representative Longjohn.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today in strong opposition to House Resolution 195. Many of my colleagues know that I've spent 25 years promoting healthy behaviors and working on violence prevention, chronic disease prevention, and school health issues. So I speak from experience and with a deep commitment to the health and well-being of Michigan students. And I know this is a commitment that the vast majority of us share, as improving health literacy was literally something we recognized as important on the floor just last week with a health literacy resolution. This is an important resolution because Michigan students deserve a health education framework that is grounded in expertise, informed by current realities, and designed to prepare them for lifelong wellness. Evidence-based efforts to ensure young people have the information they need to make healthy choices is a public health imperative. And updates to Michigan's health education standards are long overdue. For over 20 years, our state's health education framework has remained stagnant, while the world around our children and families has changed dramatically. The standards addressed with this resolution, which, by the way, are still in draft form, reflect just that. They are endorsed by the Michigan School Health Coordinators Association and Shape Michigan, trusted experts in school-based health education curricula. These are the professionals our school leaders rely on to support student wellness. Their recommendations didn't just fall out of their heads and land on a page. There are many experts in education and health who have contributed to these standards, following the available evidence to inform them. In today's digital age, our children are bombarded with misinformation. And by updating these standards, we empower school districts to use evidence-based practices to teach media literacy, critical thinking, and informed decision-making. We help students understand tolerance, inclusivity, and the importance of respectful relationships. And we give them the tools they need to live healthy lives, physically, emotionally, and socially. At its core, this resolution is aimed at erasing mention of gender identity or sexual orientation from our state's sex ed curriculum. Of note, similar efforts in the past to restrict sex ed have backfired. For example, 25 years ago, there was a push for abstinence-only education, and the result wasn't a reduction in teen pregnancy, but an increase in sexually transmitted infections and children seeking answers online to questions that should be answered by the trusted adults in their lives who know them best. When students don't see themselves or their lived experiences or the challenges they face on a day-to-day basis reflected in what they're being taught, or when their identity is treated as something to be hidden, they won't just tune out the education. They will more likely make uninformed and often unhealthy decisions. With regards to this resolution, the available evidence tells us that the absence of useful health literacy content can lead to higher rates of depression, anxiety, self-harm, and other serious mental health consequences. Because of their understanding of the available evidence, every major medical organization in this country, from the American Academy of Pediatrics to the American Medical Association, agrees that inclusive education supports healthier, safer outcomes for all young people. Colleagues supporting this resolution might argue that the proposed standards, the standards that are still in draft form, infringe on parental rights. But Michigan law already protects those parental rights. Local districts retain control over their sex ed content through sex ed advisory boards, which must be comprised of at least 50% of parents. Parents have the right to review the curriculum and opt their children out of any or all of sex education instruction. These safeguards are not being removed. They are being reaffirmed in the proposed guidelines. These guidelines are not about indoctrination. They are not about imposing cultural or religious beliefs. They're about informing and educating our students in a way that is inclusive about all the health risks they may face. They are informing our education to our students in a way that is inclusive, trauma-informed, and developmentally appropriate. The guiding principles of the framework emphasize safe and supportive environments. Removing references to gender identity and sexual orientation in these guidelines will not change the reality that transgender and non-binary youth exist in our schools, our families, and our communities. And sticking our heads in the sand will not change the reality that those children face every day. Our job here should not be to impose ideology on classrooms, but to ensure that every student in Michigan receives accurate, age-appropriate, and medically sound information. We can disagree about politics, but we should never legislate in a way that promotes ignorance. Let's empower parents and schools to apply the guidelines in a way that works best for them and keep politics out of the classroom and ensure that we are valuing science within it. For the health, safety, and dignity of all Michigan students, I urge my colleagues to vote no on H.R. 195 and keep focused on things that matter, like keeping children fed.
Speaker recognizes Representative Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to stand and speak in support of this resolution. By standing in support of this resolution, I am taking care of what matters, my children. I'm going to use a word that I actually never can pronounce accurately because I am so disgusted by this framework. I am vehemently opposed. That is a tough word for me to say. I had to practice it multiple times. This manipulative move is a clear circumvention of Michigan law. As a legislator, a mom, and a grandma who is raising 3 of her 4 grandchildren, my job is hard enough. When I lost my daughter, I made a promise that I would do everything I could in my power to protect my grandchildren and keep them innocent and successful in life. And I made that promise to God and to my daughter. I don't know why the Michigan Board of Education seeks to make parents' jobs harder in a world that is hard enough to raise kids in today. We have the right to direct the education of our children. That is our fundamental right. That right does not come from the government or school boards. Michigan law protects this right specifically as outlined in Section 1507 of the revised school code. We are going to hear a lot of claims that are false, but I want to tell you things that are true about this proposed resolution. The Michigan Department of Education is claiming that it's their job to teach sex ed and HIV. The truth is, the Michigan Department of Education is tasked with writing standards for health class, not sex ed, not HIV prevention, which are governed by local school boards. Their claim is that these standards are just guidelines. The truth is that these standards will be the minimum that schools must teach. They will claim that parents can still opt out. The truth is that health class is a requirement for graduation, and it is mandated without any notice to parents. They will claim nothing's really changing. The truth is the scope of what they're going to teach is unprecedented and unlawful. They will also claim civil rights must be taught in health class because of Elliot Larson and bullying. The truth is, Madam Speaker, no one supports bullying, but health class and sex ed are not the cause of bullying. The legislation did pass what is to be taught in health class, and it was not Elliot Larson. Sex education is to be determined by sex ed advisory boards that currently in my district in the city of Taylor cannot get their act together appropriately and act lawfully without the confusion that the State Board of Education is going to put on them. The State Board of Education's proposed framework incorporates not only radical ideology on sex, gender, and gender identity, it signals the inclusion of formal social emotional learning programming. Madam Speaker, when I say radical ideologies related to sex, the Michigan Board of Education's interim superintendent, from her own mouth, stated that the curriculum organization that they worked with to develop this standard was SECUS. On SECUS's website, secus.org, they state clearly in letters that you can read, abstinence is outdated, doesn't work, and violates the basic human right of sex. I'm sorry, Madam Speaker, the age of consent in Michigan is 16. So why would the board and SECUS advocate to be teaching this to our 3rd graders? This is perverse. One last point I would like to make is that this body should be rejecting what parents are rejecting. Many studies have shown that parents are rejecting SEL. In a recent survey, 23-24, by the ACT Ed Week, they found that parents in Michigan are requesting clarity and consent frameworks before schools adopt social emotional learning programs. Parents no longer have confidence that SEL content will uphold their family's role to teach their child's moral, social, and emotional development. SEL blurs the lines. It begs to ask the questions. Do schools believe that it is their right to raise our children and not ours? I stand with parents, grandparents, and guardians to make sure that parental rights are upheld. This is not a Christian or a conservative issue. All parents of faith, including Jewish families, Muslim families, and very specifically Albanian Muslims in my district, have asked me to stand opposed to this. These families want us to protect their right to direct their child's education when it comes to sexual activity. I am so proud to support this resolution, and I urge my colleagues to listen to Michigan parents and do the will of the people. For the love of God, do the will of the people, and not the will of a rogue state sex education push. I do not co-parent with the government, nor would I force my constituents to do that. I urge a yes vote. Thank you.
Speaker recognizes Representative Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, today we take up a resolution that strikes at the very core of who we are as a legislature and what kind of state we want Michigan to be. This is not just about curriculum. It is about the duty of government to uphold the law, respect parents, and protect the moral foundation of our schools. The resolution before us calls on the Michigan Department of Ed and the State Board of Ed to reject their proposed health education standards framework and return to the table with a version that honors the law, respects parents, and restores transparency in our classrooms, or return to the current one that we already have. Section 1507 of the revised school code, which was passed and signed by Governor Granholm with a bipartisan legislature back in 2007, it requires that sex education be locally controlled, transparent, and optional. Parents must be notified in advance, given the opportunity to participate through local advisory boards, and allowed to excuse their children from instruction that conflicts with their family's values. These are not suggestions, they are statutory rights. Yet the department's proposed framework disregards that law. It embeds lessons on gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation into required health instruction, effectively removing parental choice and stripping away local authority. The department has crossed a line that this legislature drew to protect families from exactly this kind of government intrusion. During last week's oversight hearing, the interim state superintendent was invited to explain the board's rationale for this proposal. Her delegation did not even remain for the duration of the hearing. They walked out.
Representative, please speak to the resolution and not the process. Thank you. Speaker recognizes Representative Johnson.
Everyone in attendance wanted their voices heard. That decision spoke volumes about the level of respect they have for legislative oversight and for the families they are supposed to serve. This is not modernization, it's indoctrination. It's a disregard for law, for parents, and for the constitutional role of this body. At a time when our students are struggling with the fundamentals of reading, writing, and math, the department has chosen to focus instead on social agendas that do nothing to improve academic outcomes. Michigan parents are demanding a return to common sense, to accountability, and to education that unites rather than divides, brings calm and focus instead of adding unnecessary stress and confusion. Our children deserve schools that teach truth and excellence, not political ideology and controversial fads. Our families deserve respect, not condescension and just lip service, pretending that they truly can opt out when they cannot once it's embedded into mandatory classes. Our communities deserve to have their voices heard, not dismissed by bureaucrats who believe they know better than the parents they serve. Colleagues, this resolution is not symbolic. It is a line in the sand. It tells the department and the State Board of Ed that this legislature will not stand by while they violate the trust of Michigan parents. I urge you to join me in standing up for Michigan families, for local control, and for the rule of law. Let us send a clear message that the classroom belongs to parents and communities, not to bureaucrats, not to political ideology, and not to the State Board of Education. Thank you.
The question before the House is on the adoption of House Resolution 195. The Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I request a record roll call vote.
Majority Floor Leader Posthumous requests a record roll call vote. Is the demand supported? The demand is supported. A record roll call vote has been ordered. All those in favor of the resolution will vote aye. Those opposed, nay. The clerk will open the board. Clerk will close the board. Representative Fitzgerald.
I move to excuse, I'm sorry. Are you recognizing me? Or are you asking for?
Representative Fitzgerald votes nay. Speaker recognizes Minority Floor Leader Fitzgerald.
Thank you. I had to get my roles right there. Apologies. I move to excuse Representatives Herzberg and Liberati.
So ordered. Speaker recognizes Representative Frisbee. Aye. The clerk will tally, display, and announce the vote.
Madam Speaker, on the question of adoption of House Resolution 195, there are 56 aye votes and 42 nay votes.
A majority of the members present having voted in favor, therefore, the resolution is adopted. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Posthumous.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just to let the members know, there will be no further voting today when the House adjourns and stands adjourned until Wednesday, November 5th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m.
The House will stand at ease at the call of the chair.
The House will come to order and proceed to notices.
A revised agenda has been issued for the meeting of the Committee on Health Policy scheduled for Wednesday, November 5th at 9 a.m. in room 519 of the House Office Building.
There being no further business to come before the House, Representative Jamie Green moves that the House do now adjourn. Hearing no objection, the House will stand adjourned until Wednesday, November 5th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m.